Now, in this piece of legislation, which I thank the sponsor for bringing forward, there is no reason for anybody in this chamber to threaten violence if we pass this legislation. Living in an era where we have seen people exacting violence on public officials and in centers of government, I take personal offense to anybody here who would say that if we pass a piece of legislation, that you would go out and beat somebody up. And Madam President, I would ask that those words be stricken from the record, because I wouldn't want a single person in this state to read that record and think that anybody here would come after them if they would do something so mundane as to use the bathroom, a simple call of nature. So absolutely not, I refuse to accept that. Furthermore, to the previous speakers who said that no one has asked for this piece of legislation, no one can speak for my constituents better than the senator represented to represent that district. And I will tell you that I have been asked about this legislation by hundreds of constituents who have written in and who have called and asked that we support this piece of legislation so that Illinois will step into the 21st century, as other countries have, who have taken steps to embrace people who come from all genders, those that might be non-binary, those that may be gender non-conforming, those that may be LGBTQ plus, such as myself, and proudly so. So I would ask that we all vote for this piece of legislation so that Illinois can step on the right side of history and we can continue to be an affirming and welcoming state for people that come from my community. Thank you.
It just sounds like to me that these are individuals who have problems with the LGBTQ community. And it sounds like these are the same people who act as if they don't have family members or friends who are members of the LGBTQ community. And it sounds like it's people who don't understand that life is evolving. People are changing and growing and not afraid to be who they are. And as a society, we ought to offer options. So if you do not want to go in that particular bathroom, then just don't freaking do it. Don't go in the bathroom. Don't take your kids in the bathroom. Just don't use it. It's not mandatory. No one said that it had to be in all of these places. It makes the argument is a little unfair. The argument is a little selfish to those who may want to use it, who may want to have this opportunity, or who may need it at that particular time. I think that we should rise into the 21st century. We should acknowledge those who need to have the adequate space for them. And I don't believe that this is an argument about me and my wife or me and my husband sharing a bathroom. We have master suites in our homes, and we're using the same freaking toilet. We also have children that we share spaces with in our homes. And I don't believe that this is that issue. And we also have family bathrooms in a lot of places where families go to use the bathroom. So that's his and her at times. I rise in support of this legislation. And I think that the Senate sponsor has done a marvelous job. It is permissible. And if it's something that doesn't suit you, just don't utilize it. I ask for an aye vote.
We forget that in our homes, if you have a mother, a father, brothers, sisters, someone of the opposite gender, you have already been using a gender-neutral bathroom. I live with my brother, my younger brother, and my father. And guess what? Yes, I agree with you. They should be a little bit cleaner, as I constantly remind them all the time. And they're gonna hate me for saying that on the record. But it's the reality of things, okay? What I'm a little bit more worried about based off of some of these comments is people's sanitary, lessons that they're learning. Like, are you actually washing your hands after you leave the restroom? Because I'm a little concerned about that. But that's not what this bill is about. This bill is about actually letting people who want to do this and who have already been doing this in practice in their businesses that we also rightfully claim that we're very proud of, to be able to continue to do the business that they're already doing, which is to have gender-neutral bathrooms that so many of us already use. Why am I saying that? Because sometimes I really question what experiences people have that they don't realize that they already do this. We had several speakers talk about taking their grandchildren or their children to the restroom who were of an opposite gender. Actually, this would make your life a little bit easier if you didn't know this. So if we're going that route, it's actually a pro-family bill. Because it makes it easier for dads to take their daughters or moms to take their sons, even though it's already happening. Why? Because if your child, who maybe doesn't know how to aim correctly, needs a little bit of help in the bathroom, you're going to take them. This makes it easier. Why? Because it won't be so awkward of you going into the ladies' room or me going into the men's room. But yet we want to misconstrue everything because, again, at the end of the day, the reality is, whether you want to admit it or not, dog whistles galore. We want to talk about the potential for violence and sexual assault. Well, guess what? Every single time that I've been harassed, sexually harassed, it's been in a public street. When I've been sexually assaulted by strangers, it's been in a public street. It hasn't been in a bathroom. And while you might say, why are you so concerned with toilets and bathrooms and urinals? I'm really not. The question should be why you are. Why are you so concerned with urinals when you don't have urinals in your houses unless you live a very different life? And yes, I'll let that sink in for a while because, again, you want to talk about urinals. We can talk about urinals until the cows come home. The question was, do we need this bill? Yes, we need this bill because we are surrounded by states in this country that are proactively prosecuting and persecuting people because of who they are. And when you start talking over me, there's a reason for that because I'm hitting way too many trigger points right now. And we can laugh it off because I can laugh it off like nobody's business. When you claim that no one in your communities is coming to you and talking to you about it, nobody's in your communities is coming to talk to you about it because they're afraid of you. Because you are not representing everybody in your community. Because they come running to us to tell us that my senator, my representative doesn't listen, but I need this in order to make sure that harm does not come to me and my body when I decide which restroom I want to go into. Because I can't live my life openly, freely, and honestly. Because what I'm afraid of is a gunshot hurting me because I choose the wrong restroom according to somebody else, not based off of my own decision. So why do we need this bill? Because while you might say, well, it's about urinals and it's about a toilet, the reality is if you can't use a damn toilet, then you know what? You need a little bit of help. Because we do have disabled communities that need help using the restroom. We do have little ones that need help using the restroom. But if you are able-bodied and you're concerned and so concerned with who is using what restroom, you got more and bigger problems than any of us can legislate. I'm trying to clarify why we're needing this bill, and I can go on. And literally, as we've been having this debate, I've been getting nonstop text messages of how pro-family this bill is. Because it makes it easier for parents to actually take their kids into the restroom when they need to go. I've gotten text messages of people saying, do all of these people have urinals in their home and we just don't? I've had text messages from people saying, like, you know we all use gender-neutral restrooms, right? Because family. Last night, we had a Black and Latino caucus end of session celebration, and there were porta potties. They were very nice porta potties. And you know who was using them? Everyone was using them. And no, there weren't urinals, but they were toilets. Because you know what? Guess what? A toilet works with both number 1 and number 2. And whatever else comes out. At the end of the day, while you might say nobody's talking to you about it, it's because they're coming to us saying, we need your help to make sure that we're not prosecuted and persecuted for making the decision of what restroom we go to. This isn't just a good bill, this is a great bill. I urge a yes vote. Thanks for watching this video. Please like and subscribe to keep up to date with the news from the caucus. For more information on what I'm working on, please follow me on social media using the links in the description below.